share my screen at this point and bring up our presentation.
Cool. Just for accessibility, if any of you need it, there should be a live transcript button on the bottom of the Zoom screen. If that doesn't work, on the top left corner, it says live on Otter AI, if you need to look at a transcript of the meeting. But otherwise, I think we can get started.
Sounds good. Okay, so as you guys have kind of met us, we are doing, we're presenting a business school 101 for you guys, and we'll go through our presentation, but we can take it a lot of ways, and we're happy to answer questions at the end for you all. And so you guys have kind of met us. You've heard a little bit of our backgrounds. So we both work for the Drucker School of Management at Claremont Graduate University. So my name is Margo, and I am an alum of CGU from 2014 of the Art Business program. I did my undergrad at the University of Laverne and majored in art history and creative writing. So more of a liberal arts background. And so we'll share a little bit more about that, but I'd love to turn it over to you, Sal, as well.
Good evening, everyone. Just again, I am joined here with Margo. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions for the Masters of Arts in Management program here at CGU. We both have the privilege of helping students through their application process and making sure that they, thrive through their graduate school journey. But we both love helping our students, and we're both really excited to be here today. And thank you so much for having us. So today we will be covering these topics in today's presentation, exploring your options to discover, what is your end goal, what are your career options, how you're going to find your fit, and what does it look like when you apply to graduate school, navigating the application, and how to gather those application materials together and produce strong materials to get into the business school in the term of your choosing. We're also going to cover financial aid and how to finance your graduate education, the Drucker School of Management at CGU and its programs. That's something that we definitely want to highlight today, as well as how to thrive in a professional degree. And we'll also leave some time at the end for questions. So Peter Drucker, whom our management school is named after, was a man ahead of his time, and he's also known as the father of management thinking. He once said, "Knowledge has become the key resource of the world economy." So we all know knowledge is of decisive importance in economic development of organizations as well as leadership. So we will be covering a little bit more on Drucker's impact on the world of business later on in our presentation, but that's just something that we wanted to start with because Peter Drucker's words were very important, not only to the school, but how we build our leadership as well as our curriculum around.
Awesome.
Okay, so exploring your options. When exploring your options, how do you decide what program to pursue? It's really up to you and what you want to do. Are you considering applying for an MBA or a master's in management? Are you looking into specializations such as finance or marketing? What's really going to best fit your career or job aspirations? And when exploring your options, these are really questions that you want to ask yourself when you start searching business schools and applying. Also, what can a professional degree do for you? It does build depth and breadth of knowledge. As I mentioned before, you can specialize in a target area such as marketing, finance, leadership, entrepreneurship, as well as build network and connections with your peers, faculty, and even an abundance of alumni. During grad school, you'll also have the opportunity to intern for a company and really gain that professional experience as well as marketability and how you can market yourself once you complete your business degree.
Okay, so when you look at finding your fit, really what we both love about our roles is being able to make sure that you as a student are happy with what you do. Grad school is a big choice. It may not be the right choice for everybody, and it can be very expensive. So you want to make sure that you find the fit that's right for you. So, we're here as part of, as you may be looking, some of you are in third, fourth year, doing your research. And that means not just starting like a couple of months before you might graduate, but like really thinking, meeting with people, talking to representatives, thinking about if this is the choice for you. Outline what you need. Do you only want to go to a master's program for 1 year? Do you have 2 years to spend? What is your budget? Where do you want to move out of California? Do you want to stay in San Diego area? What do you want? What are your non-negotiables, and what are things that you really do need there? Get to know faculty. I'm sure that that's a big job for you guys right now in your current program, but really get to know the faculty that you'll be working with. In a grad school environment, in a professional degree environment, you'll work even more closely with faculty at that level. You'll be doing projects directly with them. You'll be, going on, talking with them about your career. And it's a really good relationship that you want to have. So make sure you get to know them and get to know the right place for you. Talk to alumni and current students. Again, it's really important to understand the culture of the place that you want to spend the next part of your educational cycle in, and maybe the final portion of your educational career as well. And talking to alumni, seeing where they've been, and also to current students, so you can see what is that like right now. And then explore student services. I would guess that student services are probably important to you. I'm going to guess that you guys have great student services right now. And so understanding that some programs offer more than others, and what that looks like, and really what is the right place that fits all of your needs, because it really is another investment in a year, 2 years, 2.5 years. So you want to make sure that you're really comfortable with all of those things.
So navigating the application process, when applying to grad school, there are a few requirements that you may want to look at when starting your application. The first step is filling out the online application and paying the fee. At CGU, we do have an application fee of $80, but you're always more than welcome to join an information session and or meet with an admissions representative to ask for an application fee waiver. Official transcripts are required, and you may want to request these early when planning to submit your application. Your resume. So you really want to highlight all professional and education experience here, but you also may want a mentor or maybe one of your personal references to look over for you before you submit. The IELTS and TOEFL is required if you are an international student and need to fulfill the English requirement. So again, those are required materials when applying for a business school. This is very specific to us, but you definitely might want to take a look at every program that you apply to. Program specific materials like the GRE and GMAT. Many institutions right now are actually waiving the GRE and the GMAT requirement. At CGU, we are making it optional. So our school is making it optional at this point. So if you do have one to submit, feel free to, if you think it will strengthen your application. If you got a great score, you definitely want to add that onto your application. But just so you know, it is optional here at CGU. When building your references and asking for letters of recommendations, you really want to provide them with supplemental materials. Your resume, also provide them and give them ample time to think about, what they're going to write about you, and just write that stellar letter of recommendation. Let's see. Also, your personal statement. So make sure that you guys give yourself enough time to write your personal statement, and maybe ask somebody that you trust to review it before submitting. It can be really difficult to write about oneself. I know I have difficulty doing that sometimes. And some grad schools do provide prompts, whereas others don't. So you might want to check into that as well. But if you give yourself ample time to write your personal statement, I really think that that's key. And then the last and final step of the application process is the interview. I know a lot of people get nervous when it comes down to the interview, but this is really coming down to what you want out of a graduate school, why you're applying, and just what you want to get out of it. So when coming to the interview, I would definitely recommend researching the school, thinking about why you applied, what you want to do with your business degree, what you have to bring to graduate management education. And if it's conducted over Zoom or in person, I would also recommend maybe dressing business casual, business professional, but you can always ask your admissions rep before doing so when it comes to the interview.
Okay, so something that everyone wants to know is understanding graduate financial aid. You guys may have a good handle on undergrad financial aid. It's a little bit different in the way that we word things and the way that we have terms for things. So it's important to understand because this is something you should be looking at ahead of time. You probably all did a FAFSA or maybe you have heard of that. It is, if you remember it, it's kind of a really annoying process for undergrad. For grad school, it actually takes about 15 minutes and it's super easy. So people are always like, oh, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. But it's actually so much better when you're a grad student. And you can actually qualify for, quite a bit of lower interest rate loans. I know loans are not anyone's favorite cup of tea, really, and there's a lot going on in the world about that. But because you apply as an independent person, as a grad student, you're able to take that on. But really what I want to talk about is stuff that you do not have to take out loans for, right? So the graduate equivalent of a scholarship is called a fellowship. So just know that you would hear that term quite a bit. Fellowships in undergrad, you sometimes hear it, and it typically means for some people like a full ride or a full scholarship. For graduate education, especially in a professional degree, a fellowship will just mean a merit-based award. So at CGU, we offer everyone that goes under consideration that submits their application is in review is automatically reviewed for a fellowship, an academic fellowship that is merit-based. So you will hear that. And then, also things like grants and on-campus employment can really help in the graduate space. So looking for that extra external funding. And then we do have a lot of on-campus employment. You may be familiar with that with undergrad, but there are opportunities to be, graduate school ambassadors, especially within, management programs. Eventually there could be TA-ships or graduate student assistantships. And they do pay fairly well. So always looking at different on-campus employment and things to push you along in that direction. There are so many other sources of financial aid as well. And some of these may be familiar to you and others may not. If you decide to go into the workforce after graduating with your degrees, because you're all incredibly smart women, I know that you'll probably end up at a good organization. Look at employer tuition remission. So many organizations, especially some of the larger ones, are more than happy to pay for your MBA. So really look at that, and that could be a good option if down the road you may want to do an MBA or something, a professional degree. So look at that. Again, federal work study, if you qualify for federal work study, which means doing the FAFSA, filling that out, you can get jobs on campus. We do have some folks that are veterans. We have federal loans, external fellowships, and private loans. So all things that you may have heard of, they definitely come more into play in the graduate space. But we encourage everyone to look at things as an investment and from a holistic point of view, and finding all of the funding options that work for you. So there's often multiple fellowships that you can apply for. Right now, we are setting up our admits with a trustee fellowship. It's an application that they can apply for to earn extra funding towards their degree. So there's always things at any school that you look into. So make sure to take advantage of all of the funding opportunities. Okay. So why the Drucker School of Management? And so we are from the Drucker School. We want to talk a little bit about the Drucker School. And if you have not heard of Peter Drucker, as Giselle explained earlier with his quote, he is the father of modern management. I do recognize that we are speaking with a women's organization, and we definitely understand that we love being women working at the Drucker School and kind of change that. We'll talk a little bit about the how many women we actually do have in the MBA later, which is fantastic. But as you look at different schools, you're going to want to ask some of these fundamental questions. So I'm going to lay them out here and share what the Drucker School has for those answers. So you're going to want to look at what's the size of the school. We have 8:1 student to faculty ratio, which is very, very small. Sometimes it could be even smaller. The biggest class you'll probably have at the Drucker School is like 20 people. So really, really small. You want to look at what they focus on as far as a graduate school. What are their values? So here we're very socially conscious, empathetic, and we really focus on organization or the shareholders. They really talk about the community and how an organization affects that. You want to look at the student body. Are they diverse? Are they not diverse? So we'll share a little bit more about the diversity of our student body. How can you take the graduate management education? Is it all on campus? Is it flexible? Can you do it part-time? Can you not? What does that look like? Because as I spoke a little bit before, you want to know what your needs are and what you need as far as kind of your path, your career, your life, and what works for you. So we are very flexible. We offer different options for that. And then what are the extras there as far as what will look good on your resume? I can share that we offer certificates in concentration. So everyone in the full-time MBA program, as well as the Masters in Management that Isa will talk about, are required to do a concentration. And what that means is you can pick something that you're particularly interested in. We have a whole list of concentrations I'll go over. And you also get 3 certificates throughout the program. They don't cost extra. You still get an MBA diploma, but you also get certificates, one in your concentration and then 2 others that really show what you've really dived into in regards to your MBA. So looking at the extras that a program can give to you. And then also looking at what do they do for you as far as career services. Make sure you look at their career services. Do they have them? Do they offer them? We have fantastic career services, and we also give our career services to our alumni for life. I won't say it's free because you do pay for the education and you deserve to have those career services, but many larger graduate management programs, they do make you pay as an alum for career services. So if in 5 years you graduate from the Drucker School and you want to do a career pivot, you want to go into a different area, come back and everyone will set you up for success. So the MBA is kind of the traditional graduate management education, 3 letters that you're always going to hear. We have students that come to us from all walks of undergrad, whether that is economics or whether that is English or history. It really doesn't matter what you're coming in from. It's about where you're going to go and what you want to pursue. So our MBA is 48 units. We have full-time, part-time, and flex options, which means it's very flexible if you want to be all on campus, if you want to do it in a hybrid mode or not. And it also depends on other things like work experience or where you are in a career. If you're coming straight from undergrad, a full-time, or a part-time, depending on your work situation, is going to be the best bet. Fall and spring starts. So also looking at programs when you're looking, you can start in the fall or the spring for many programs. We offer both. So you don't have to, if you want to take a semester off, if you want to, do something, travel, my goodness, I hope travel, we can start to travel soon, but, take that semester off and start in the spring. We have core courses. So all of the fundamentals of business, summer internships, specializations, of course, and those are all on the right-hand side. So we have entrepreneurship, finance, supply chain, leadership, marketing, strategy, HR management, or IT management that you can do a specialization in. We also have learning journeys and study abroad. This is a great opportunity if you have not studied abroad in your undergrad. We have campuses that are in Japan, Argentina, Switzerland, just really fantastic places that you can go and do an exchange program with. We also have learning journeys that are, you don't have to pay anything extra for them. You just have to apply and be accepted on the trips. They're about 8-day trips. We've been to places like New Zealand. We've been all over. It really depends on who's teaching the course or who's taking the group. And so it's one of our professors. And, if there's a group that's really interested in tech, we might go up to Silicon Valley. If there's people really interested in finance, we might, be going to New York, different things like that. And then we also have dual degrees. So dual degrees with information systems and technology. We have dual degrees with our master's in public health, which is really, really booming because of currently what's going on with everything. So there's lots of ways to combine an MBA. An MBA really just means that you're prepared to go out into the business world. It's a signifier for something you can pivot into pretty much any career you would like to go in. You can go super specialized or you can work in any organization. So it's a really nice thing to have.
Thanks, Margo. So the Master's of Arts in Management, it is our second management program that we offer here at the Drucker School of Management that also has other areas of concentration as well. It is a 32-unit program, a shorter length of time, greater flexibility. It could take anywhere from 1 to 2 years to complete, 1 year full-time, 2 years part-time. It is also a fall and a spring intake, but again, this is really designed for you to specialize in management skills and take you to the next level. It is management as a liberal art, and you really gain that experience and develop management training through this program. Again, no work experience is required, and you do get to specialize in the area of your choice and go out into the market and earn that experience that really then enhances those skill sets that you develop in the program. So for example, entrepreneurship, supply chain management, leadership and org behavior, marketing, IT management. We do accept a lot of recent undergrads, but we're also seeing an upward trend in current professionals in the field wanting to engage in management training skills. So say you go into the field, get some experience, and you want to come back and get that leadership training, you come back and get this Master's of Arts in Management. It has become a really, really good option for them to step into. But again, you will have also access to a lot of resources that Margo had went over, the Career Strategy Office, but the great thing is that we have a very individualized approach here at Drucker, and that we have, so many things to offer, resources, whatnot, but you get access to individuals who are committed to you and what you really want to do professionally. So working with the Career Strategy Office, utilizing the resources offered is the best option for you when doing the MA in Management or when doing the MBA, because it's really going to help you grow professionally and head in the direction that you want to go. Okay, so Drucker by the numbers. Presenting this slide is such a privilege when presenting to your group because your group, your organization is called Women and Minorities in Economics. So I'm really proud to say that because you could see that women make up more than half of our graduate students at Drucker School. We have 59% women, which is a great accomplishment. And we also have a large percentage of students of color. You could see here that people of color and women do not remain underrepresented, which is amazing. Huge accomplishment for us. And it's definitely something that we aspire to continue in the years to come. We also have 30% international, which is great. And I believe we are the highest school at CGU. Drucker School is the highest international intake. So I think we're also very proud of that as well.
Yeah, thank you, Isel. It's really fantastic. And I love that we're able to present that to you guys as well. Student experience, and this is something I was talking about a little bit earlier. As you consider your student experience, right now you guys are having a traditional, undergrad experience. Certainly it's online right now, so it's a little bit untraditional, but for example, you are in this organization, and so you have access to clubs and organizations. So make sure that if you want to continue student life, you look into that with a grad program. So for Drucker specifically, the student experiences, we have lots of clubs and orgs. Drucker Net Impact, which is an organization where Drucker students really give back to the community. They do projects and really talk about social and cultural responsibility. We have basically a club for a lot of our specializations of finance, marketing, supply chain, venture capital. We have a honor society, which is Beta Gamma Sigma. We do case competitions and Kravis competitions. Case competitions are really fun because you really get to you work with a team, work with members of your cohort. Kravis competitions are really interesting. So they're named after Henry Kravis. They're open to our graduate school, but also the 5 undergrad schools, which you might have heard of, including Pomona, Claremont, McKenna, the schools around us. And it's kind of like a Shark Tank, but for entrepreneurs. And so if you're entrepreneurial in any way and you have an idea, you get to go and present it, and you can win up to $9,000 in seed money for your idea. So we do that every year as well. CGU as a whole has a graduate student council, so leadership opportunities there, a consulting club, peer mentoring, where you can be a mentor or have a mentor. Everyone is matched with a mentor as well. So it's really nice to have that relationship. We have a Center for Writing and Rhetoric. I'll share that, for most professional degrees, you're not doing a ton of writing, you're doing more group projects or individualized projects. But when it comes down to producing your presentations or producing any of that content, we do have a absolutely free, all of these things are free as part of your student life writing and rhetoric office. We have an Office of Student Life Diversity and Leadership, which is really important to us because we really preparing future faculty. So if any of you are particularly interested in teaching, whether it's, teaching, a specific subject or something like that, this is not a teaching certificate, but it is, again, offered overall. Within the entire consortium, we have Chicano, Latino, Latina Student Affairs, which is fantastic. We have Black Student Affairs, a Queer Research Center, which is a really great thing to have on our campuses. We have the 3rd largest research library in California, the Honnold Med Library, as well as counseling services. So we have all of the things that you would need. And so again, as you're looking into schools, make sure they have things that will make your student experience a strong one like you're used to in your undergrad. Okay, so the last couple slides, we want to give you some practical information as terms of what to expect in a professional degree. Some of you may be considering a professional degree in the next couple of years, some of you may not. But if it's something you're considering, here's kind of our tips and what we've seen along the way. As we stated, Isel may very well be going into a professional degree of her own in the next couple of months. I've been through the program, so we're here to kind of answer questions. But in comparison to undergrad, you're going to have fewer classes, but it's going to be more work. It's probably no surprise that the next level of education would be harder, but there is more technically free time in a sense. There are fewer classes and the classes meet less. But there's more group projects. Again, there's case studies for reading instead of textbooks or long novels to read, more presentations, and again, it's just going to be more in general, right? You're really diving into a specific subject, an MBA or professional degree, or honestly, any degree that you're looking at, even if that's a next step in economics, a master's in that, it's going to be a specialization. So just expect it to be more work in that sense. But on the other hand, if you're doing more work, you're also getting a lot more guidance. So highly accessible faculty, especially at CGU, where you can literally just go and talk to your faculty. We don't really have TAs in a sense, and you have that one-on-one relationship with them. Clear career guidance. Again, many programs, especially if you look at some smaller business schools or professional degrees, they'll have folks that are specifically in your department to help you. The Drucker School has a career center that is only for Drucker students. And so CGU as a whole has a career development office, which is great. And our Drucker students can also utilize that, but we have specifically for our students because they understand what the business market looks like. They understand jobs that are coming up. And so you have more accessibility in there. And again, ability to specialize. And there also comes a greater responsibility. There's more independence. No one's gonna if you don't show up to class, no one will probably ever bother you about it. I mean, that may be the case right now for you guys, but for the most part, it's like when you're a grad student, you are a full adult. And if you want to kind of spend your money and not go to class, they will not care. So there's more independence. There's no busy work. You're not going to be doing random things just to keep yourself busy throughout a semester. It's all highly specialized, really important work that you're doing, whether that's projects or things that really will elevate you. There's high expectations, but there's also a lot of opportunities to take advantage of at the same time. So that's what to expect, so that you go in knowing how much work it is, but then also here are some tips on how to thrive in a professional degree. So really, the first thing is, really taking advantage of all the opportunities. So putting yourself out there, it seems like you guys are, you're in this organization together, you're doing things, you're probably doing this already on your campus, but continuing to do that. Joining professional associations, attending events, and following up with people, following up on those opportunities. And that's just good advice for whether you go into a professional degree or you don't, or if you're starting in the workforce or you don't. All of this is just generally good advice. But also guarding your time. I know when I was a graduate student, as I said, there's more work, there's more reading, there's more things to do, there's internships, and there's work. You might be working. So making sure you have downtime and self-care. I think we've all learned in the past year that self-care is very important. And so guarding your time by making a schedule. So sticking to a schedule, planning ahead, joining study groups. I will share that, study groups are a huge thing. Project groups, especially within an MBA, you're really working with a lot of teams. So working together. So working smarter, not harder, like delegating things, making sure you can split it up as a team, making sure that you are using the resources that are available to you and not, trying to go it alone. And then also finding your passion. Bring your authentic self to everything that you do. Think outside traditional career paths. What's interesting about the MBA is that we have folks that go into, they might work for a movie studio, or they might start their own business or work for a family business, or they might, go into more a traditional banking job, but there's always things that are outside the box. And so even, with a major in economics, there's so many things that you can do that don't necessarily follow traditional career paths. Find a mentor, especially what's great about some of our faculty within the Drucker School is that we do have incredible female faculty. We do have those resources and those that can be a mentor. So find someone that can be a mentor to you. And then also when you're ready, be a mentor to somebody else. And especially, I think it's so important as women to continue that, because there's we'll just share, as you share the statistics, not all business schools have that many women in, attendance, or have that, parity of gender equality. So when you can find a mentor or be a mentor to another young woman, that's really powerful. And then just ask as many questions as you can and not be afraid. I think that in grad school, there's a different level of, perception. It might be intimidating now to ask some questions, or who knows, you may be very confident to do that right now, but in grad school, it's very much encouraged. It's very about, looking out for what you want in your future and taking advantage of it.
Again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We know that it's finals week, but we're so grateful for everyone that was able to join us today. And we would love for you guys to stay in touch. We have dropped our phone number, our email address, as well as our LinkedIn. If you guys would like to take that down, add us as a connection, or if you guys want to reach out and maybe start an application or ask any questions about our programs, we would love to keep in contact with you. Also, again, we're super excited to have presented in front of you guys today. I know the other day was International Women's Day. I know it's a little late, but happy International Women's Day. But we are going to open it up to questions if you guys have any. Again, I know it's finals week, so don't worry about anything if you don't have any, but again, you guys can always reach out to us if you do need anything.
Yes, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Again, connect with us. And even if you just do want someone to talk to about grad school in general, we're here for you. I think it's really important to, be there for each other as women in a professional setting. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much. It's been a real privilege.
Thank you both so much for being here. I think if people have any questions, we can just put in the chat or unmute yourself.
I have a question. Well, first off, thank you, Margo and yourself, for taking your time out of your day to come speak with us. I had a question. So I come from a technical background, not necessarily business, but I was looking into business grad school. I wanted to know, what do students normally study in undergrad when pursuing like the MBA or the MA in management?
So I'll answer for the MBA, and then I'll pass it over to you, Sel. But as I think I mentioned earlier, although some people that come into the MBA study like business administration or more technical programs, we have many folks that do not. We really, for us, and this may be different across other business schools, although typically an MBA doesn't really discriminate against what your undergrad major is. But again, check with different grad programs. But for the Drucker School, we encourage everybody with any major to apply because it really is about, we start everybody off at the basics. Not that it's not hard, because it is hard, but I'll share, it's like I went into some of the courses I took with my MA in art business, I took with the Drucker School. I had to take finance, I had to take accounting, I had to take econ strategy, all courses that are applicable to kind of any realm you want to go into. And I thought, holy cow, I am not going to be able to learn finance at all. I got an A in the class. I'm very proud of that because I come from, I think I said earlier, an art history background, a creative writing background, no business school at all. So I think that you would be fine with any undergrad, and we encourage that because we also, not only do we have diversity in terms of, gender and international students, we also encourage diversity in background and where people come from. It's not fun to have a bunch of people in class that all have a business admin undergrad, because what would you learn from one another, right? You have different perspectives, you have different interests. So I'll share that for the MBA.
I think I would also say that it's the same thing when it comes down to the master's in management. We don't discriminate as to what you got your undergrad in or whatsoever. Also, like Margo said, that we start with the basics, and they do, for the MBA, they do the Drucker signature platform. They do specific courses that are going to guide you and at the beginning of your MBA process. But when it comes down to it, any is welcome. When it comes to the master's in management, we obviously do welcome a lot of liberal arts majors, but we have people from all different backgrounds applying to the Drucker School.
Great question.
Thank you both for answering.
Also, Isha, I'm sorry, I was wondering, can you share this recording with us?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
When it's ready.
Awesome, thank you.
I actually also had a question. I know I know you touched on this a little bit, but I know there's some grad schools, even in the UC system, that are just notorious for not supporting their grad students. And I was just wondering like how much you would say that the Drucker School listens to, values, supports your students.
That's a great question. You are right. And that is the sad truth about some things, which again is why I encourage you, talk to current students, talk to alumni, see what people actually feel about things. When you talk to Drucker alumni, it is like, it runs deep. Like people are just like, will want to talk to you about it forever. And so CGU is a really interesting place. If you're not familiar with, the Claremont Consortium or the undergrad colleges, we're located in Claremont. It's a very small campus. We typically have about 60 to 70 people in our management programs, which compared to other schools, like they have hundreds, right? So first of all, you're getting a really high touch, flexible experience. And so again, when you're looking at taking care of your students and the values of our school, I think that's why Isel and I, really love what we do and really enjoy working here, is because whatever a student wants to do and whatever they need help with, like every single person is invested in their journey from the very beginning with us. And like, I will say, like, as I've been working at CGU, it's like, I still talk to students that I met 2 years ago that, came in, and I still consider it like, how are you doing? What is going on here? The professors are really, they really take pride in being able to connect with you. Like the office hours and faculty policy are like insane when it comes to how reachable they are. And then you can just like go talk to them, call them, someone will give out their cell phones. It's wild. It's a whole different experience. Many of them go play basketball with some of the professors, or tennis, or different things. But overall, we have an environment that is very, very welcoming. The values of the Drucker School are, as Isel kind of explained earlier, Peter Drucker was about the human side of management. We really believe, and this is not for everyone, when you're looking at a grad school, sounds kind of harsh, but some people just want to get in, get out, and make some money, right? And we want you to get in and get out and make some money, of course, but we want you to become a better person. We want you to become a better leader. And so we focus on the human. We focus on being an empathetic person, understanding that if you're in a management position one day, you hold a lot of power and responsibility. And how are you going to treat your employees? Because how you do that speaks a lot about who you are as a person. How do you give back to the community? So those are our values. And so look, that's what really makes us unique. But look at that when you're exploring. Make sure the values align with your values. Otherwise, you're not going to have, you're not going to be happy,
No, definitely bouncing off of what Margo said, I was mentioning about the Career Strategy Office, all the resources that we have on campus. From the moment that you start with us, you get access to individuals that are committed to you and what you want to do professionally. From the beginning, they'll start working with you on what your outcome is when you graduate from the Drucker School of Management, or just in general, say that you pursue a master's degree at CGU, and whether it's the MBA or the MAM or another program. A lot of what we have to offer is very individualized approach. We have an 8-to-1 ratio. It's just an amazing opportunity that we offer here. And I think that the fact that we have so many resources for students to use versus where other schools, it's not as much of an individualized approach. I think the students very much enjoy when they come here and they realize that it's not just, I'm just this one person in a big bubble of people. No, they're actually able to walk into right now it's COVID, but if they're an email away, they're a phone call away, you could definitely reach out to your faculty members. But if you're on campus, you can go to their office, and it's not based on, office hours or like a specific time where you can come in. Like, they are there for you, and they're definitely going to help build you towards what your goals are. But yeah, definitely based off of what Margo said, you really want to look for a school that's going to go based off of what your values are too.
Great question. Thanks for asking that.
Thank you. I do have one other question, but I want to wait to see if anyone else wants to ask anything. Okay, if you're typing a question, I think I'm just gonna ask. So my other question is just kind of like a bundle, but like it's just about like application logistics. I think I know it freaks me out a lot. I don't know about other people, but like how much does like GPA matter? Like, does it matter who your letter of recommendation is from? Um, if you're applying to like this program, do you need a specific like job experience to make yourself a better candidate? Just like those kind of general things.
Isel, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Yeah, I could start. For the MAM, no, well, actually for the MAM and MBA, no work experience is required. So that's definitely something that's a plus. When it comes down to GPAs, I mean, it depends on what your background is, what your, what else you're bringing to it. So your statement of purpose, how strong it is, your resume, whether it's your educational experience or professional experience, it's all going to tie in, and it comes down to as well as the interview. But I think you asked about GPA. What else was the other question? I'm sorry. Letters of recommendation. So your references. Like I said, you really want somebody who knows you, either on a professional level or on an educational level. So maybe a faculty member that you worked, very well with, who knows who you are, or if you need to remind them, oh, I took this course with you. I really enjoyed your classes, but somebody that you definitely have built a relationship with. And when it comes to professional experience, I would say somebody who you worked under, and from a supervisory standpoint, and who's able to speak to your work. Of course, but depending on, obviously you guys are undergrad, so professional experience may be a little different depending on when you go into it. But I would definitely recommend getting somebody who knows you a little bit more on a personal level, who can write to you, because this letter of recommendation is going to definitely help you out. And also anything you can provide them with, the materials such as resume, your statement of purpose, to get to know you a little bit better, because sometimes they might not know you on that level. You definitely want to share those materials so then they can write you an amazing stellar letter.
For sure. I mean, if you guys have a faculty advisor or staff advisor for WAMIE here, like have them do that for you. I agree with everything you all said. I think as you're looking at programs, what's great about the Drucker School is we are small and we're able to consider all of our applicants from a holistic standpoint. So we're not just going to cut you off and be like, oh, your GPA wasn't good, like, bye. We're going to say, no, like, let's talk about that. What was going on? Let's look at your letters of rec. Oh, your letters of recommendation are wonderful. Oh, your statement of purpose is wonderful. Oh, you killed it in the interview. Great. Some other larger programs, I don't want to name names, but they're out there and they might they have certain cutoffs for things, right? And I understand why they do that. But if you're looking at a smaller program like ours, we're able to consider the entire applicant. Like we said, we're values based in that sense. So it's like, what are you going to do with this degree that's going to change the world or impact the world? And if you can do that, and if you can show us that you can do that, but maybe one part of your GPA isn't that great, you're definitely still a strong candidate.
Thank you so much. If there's no other questions, I think that's it. Thank you both so much for being here. I really enjoyed this presentation. I thought it was really informative. But I'm gonna stop the recording here.